Okay, here we are in Bowral at the Invisible Art Space Art Shed, which is part of the Southern Highlands Arts Trail for 2025. We're at the end of the day now, but I'm just documenting my work here. So this is one series that I've done, which is an AI work, generative AI. So I put in a text prompt and created these creatures. And it's a series called Plastosphere Creatures. So they're creatures evolved to live on the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, along with all the garbage and debris that's up there. And then I created a video of it. I'll just let that go for a bit. So it's a speculative evolution project. And these creatures just float around in the ocean. I'll just show one more. Yeah. And then, so what I did is after creating the video, I then created cyanotypes, which it's an early photography technique where you use the sun to develop, to take the exposure. So these are very mysterious and creepy looking, like because it's an early photography technique, it's sort of like having an early photograph of these future creatures. So I've got more of these here where I've been testing different settings when I made the cyanotypes. So they're very mysterious and they just sort of come out of the blue ocean depth. Yeah, and yeah, then I've got some 3D scans. Trying to get a good angle here. A bit of glare. So these are the eucalypt trees out the back, and they're point cloud 3D scans. So it makes it like ghostly image. You can almost see through the trees. And then I've got the bilby, this is actually a digital work. It's a 3D model of a bilby, and then it's digitally printed onto canvas. And what I've done is convert the 3D model from a mesh to a point cloud, because so in a mesh you have the lines connecting all the points, but the lines are all missing, like all the interconnections are missing. So the bilby is extinct in New South Wales, and it's an ecosystem engineer, and I think of it as the public housing provider in the bush or in the ecological system. So it creates multiple burrows, and then about between 12 and 20 burrows, and then it moves between them. And so as it's doing that, other species use the burrows, so it provides homes for them as well. But when it's extinct, it causes, obviously, effects downstream to all the other animals. So all those interconnections are gone, so now it's a point cloud. That was the idea of that one. And then I created 3D models of them, but also for some of the other species that I've been looking at, and also some imaginary ones. Like this is the numbat. It's got an extended nose here, or snout, to catching termites. It's the bilby, another bilby, the kangaroo. It's actually the wallaby, because there's 3 species of wallaby that are extinct in New South Wales as well. and this one's been quite popular. It's an imaginary bunyip, because I read a story where I read a description of a bunyip that had a wing for swimming in the water or the swamp, or the and then the snout like a crocodile, so it's sort of similar to that. The billabong, that's the word. I'm trying to find the word. And I put them onto, they look like scientific samples, so they're on this bioplastic that I've made. So use different recipes. It comes out, it's like a sustainable version of plastic and just an alternative to real plastic. But just thinking, the idea is, you know, we save the metadata for these creatures that have become extinct, and we save samples of them. But then when in the future, you can't really recreate them exactly how they should have been. So these bilbies actually only have 3 legs. You can see that. And 1 ear, or some of them didn't even have 1 ear. And all these glitches, so that's by design. I've also got a whale here, which is from my other plastisphere whale project, but there's another one here. Similar idea. Yeah, and also the idea is between these, linking the plastic here to the plastic in the plastisphere creatures, and the whole approach is that sometimes you know, you have a text description of a species in a scientific sample, or I've got this book that came from the Arthur Phillip voyage, and the botanists and the scientists had created samples, like text descriptions, and then they of these exotic, in quote, species, which obviously the indigenous people knew all about them, but you know, exotic to the British people. And yeah, so and then sometimes these in early colonial days, these text descriptions of scientific specimens were then drawn by artists and then made as postcards and then sent, like, for the people in England, so that they would come and you know, live in the new colony of Australia. So it's a colonization sort of theme to it as well, I suppose. But and also another thing is, you know, I sometimes watch a lot of the birds in this location, and some people, you know, you might only have like a text description of a bird, and you don't know what it is, and then so you might draw a picture of it in your sketchbook or something, and so you're drawing from a sketch, and then that's sort of what some of these are doing, and also that's sort of what AI is doing, like generative AI. It's creating an image from a sketch. And then the other ones I've got here is, I'll just have to get it going, so I'll just show you over here, sorry. Is a code-based drawing that I've made in JavaScript. So it's just running here live off my iPad, so it's playing off the blockchain. So it's of the digital bilby 3D model, and that's the mesh one. You can see the triangles there. And as it moves around in its new digital world, it leaves all these traces and these organic shapes. So it's like building its own landscape in this new digital world. So it's like getting a view of what the digital bilby might see. You can see there, creating these feather-like patterns. So it's like getting a view of what the bilby might see in its new digital world. And then what I've done here is just to try and get it into the physical world. Oops. I've used like a Pepper's Ghost system, which is probably not going to show up very well on the camera. but it's probably too dark. But I don't know if you can see that, but it's displaying up here in the projection. You can see it moving around there. And so Pepper's Ghost was an early projection technique, which was popular in the 1800s in theatres. And so this idea is just to show that it's a network performance. It's actually the drawing is performing and playing live off the internet. It's not a video or anything. Yeah, you can actually see it better in person than on the camera. But, and then I've got some pictures here, or the postcards here from, I've got a gallery in Sydney called Invisible Art Space in Balmain, which was, normally we have a new show every month. So the next show is coming up in December, because we're here at the moment in Southern Highlands Arts Trail in November. So we do have a music performance coming up on the 22nd, a synth night, but these are some of the artists that have been featured so far. So we're still a new gallery. We've just been running since June 2025. But yeah, we'd love it if you came and visit. Okay, thanks.